Thank you for moving. And thank you for coming tonight. I'm Sam Cohen. I'm a professor of English at the University of Missouri and president of this august institution, the MMLA. Very excited to have Camden Joy here to talk to us tonight. But before I say a few words of introduction, I just want to remind people that there is a panel on the work of Camden Joy tomorrow at noon in the Oak Room called Ode to Joy. And we're going to have writers Ben Bush, Adam Wilson, Trini Dalton, and David Ann Meyer there, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm sure there will be other great panels at noon, but you should come to ours. That's abuse of power. That's what that is. So I'm just going to say a couple of things about Camden Joy's work and let him come on up here. But I thought, by way of introducing it, for people who don't know it, I would talk about how I came to know about it. I decided a couple semesters ago to teach a rock novel course, and realized I didn't actually know that many rock novels. I liked the ones I knew. So I did a lot of research and Googling and crowdsourcing. And one of the books I came up with, it turned out a couple of my friends recommended very strongly. And it was a book called The Last Rock Star Book, or Liz Phair, A Rant, by somebody named Camden Joy. It's a book about a young, troubled person named Camden Joy who accepts an assignment to write a quickie bio of Liz Phair, rock star Liz Phair, and ends up writing a little bit about her, but a lot more about rock music and about fandom and stardom and obsession and sex and violence and good things like that, and about growing up absurd under like multinational capitalism. Not exactly in those words. I taught alongside a bunch of books I really like, alongside DeLillo's Great Jones Street, Jonathan Letham's Fortress of Solitude, Jennifer Egan's Visit from the Goon Squad, Danny Spiata's Stone Arabia, a few others. And it won the semester. The Last Rockstar book was the book of the semester. And I think part of that is because it's just a very innovative book. And in that innovation, it embodies what one of the characters, or a number of them, call Majesty of Impulse, which is their name for the thing that happens when, I'm going to mangle this, so I'll paraphrase, but it's when the performer strays from the script, but doesn't worry about what to play next. And I think this book does that sort of masterfully. And after reading it, I wanted to read everything else he'd written. And so it became what a character in another book calls the worst thing you can be, which is a completist. So I got to read Lost Joy, which is a collection of the street posters and manifestos and pamphlets and short stories and rock criticism of Camden Joy, starting from the mid-'90s. I got to read Boy Island, which is a novel about David Lowery's band after Camper Van Beethoven broke up, which I know broke everyone's heart here. You can see, just mentioned. And before Cracker, the band that he formed after, came together. And it's David Lowery wasn't happy about it because there's some biographical information, but there's a lot about the rock business, a lot about the industry and about touring and about identity, sexual and otherwise, and it's a fantastic book. And I got to read a trio of novellas that came out from an about-to-fold press, so there are not many of them out there, but get your hands on them if you can. One of them is Palm Tree 13, it's called, and it's about the Eagles in America, the band and the country, and David Geffen, and it's set in the Old West, of course, and there are cowboys, and there's poker and everything. It's a great book. So while I was becoming the worst thing a person can be, which is a completist, I found myself president of MMLA, and in addition to, the glory and the motorcades and all, I was given a chance to pick the theme for the conference, which is art and artifice. And we knew that already. And Camden Joy seemed the perfect choice for this. And he was a little bit hard to find. He hasn't been hiding. He's been living under his real name, Tom Adelman, in Jersey, right out in the open. But the real discovery has been seeing people's reactions to finding out that this event was happening and that we did a version on Monday in New York City. The reaction's been astounding. And I find it not unironic that a writer so interested in the music industry's tendency to elevate the uninteresting and relegate the talented to obscurity, and whose books are all but one out of print, should have this amazing, what we often call a cult following, although we haven't been brainwashed, and he's not taking our money. To me, it's an amazing thing, and it's what my people call a shanda. Not a tragedy, it's a travesty. As he says of the band Pavement in one of the posters, Camden Joe's belly should be loaded with our very best meats, which makes sense if not, no. But we should be talking about him. The people in the cult know, but English professors should be standing around saying English professory things about his work, about in the context of not just the rock novel, but the American novel, not just in the context of rock criticism, but literary journalism. I think there's a lot to be said, and maybe we can talk about it after we bring him up. We can certainly talk about it at the panel tomorrow at noon in the Oak Room. But for now, let me stop talking and bring up the man himself.